Hey everybody, Stacy here with Pitch Deck Fire, and I'm so glad you guys have joined us for another Pitch Hack of the Week this week. For those of you who are new, we cover tips and tricks on pitching, pitch decks, sales decks, investor decks, and live presentations. So if you're a startup looking for funding, or an established company looking for new customers, maybe you're even in an accelerator or an incubator program, all of you guys can find value in what we talk about here at Pitch Hacks. So let's hop right into it. What's this week's Pitch Hack of the Week? Alright, so this week's Pitch Hack of the Week is, what clicker do you recommend? Hold on one second. So the one I recommend is this one. It's my absolute favorite clicker. Before I talk about why this one, let's talk about why you want a clicker. So if you're presenting live in front of people, whether it's one person or an entire room of people, what happens is you have a presentation usually that you're clicking through, right? You have slides that you need to navigate through as you speak. Maybe even animation on those slides that need to come up at certain times. There's a couple different ways you can manage that. First of all, you could have somebody else manning the clicking, right? But I find that very dangerous because one of the worst things you can do in a presentation is to actually say, next slide please, next. It's terrible. You don't want to do that. We don't want to distract our audience whatsoever. We want it to be very seamless and to just flow, okay? So we don't want to have somebody else clicking who doesn't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing at what time. So the only way in which I'm ever okay with you having someone else click for you is when that person has really practiced with you and knows exactly when you're going to change slides and will not mess up, and you will never say, next slide. Don't do it. Another way you might click through slides, or more, traditional way to click through slides, is you actually use the computer that you're presenting on. So if you have a computer hooked up to the screen behind you, then you click the next button on that computer, or you click your mouse on that computer, it moves to the next slide. But that's actually terrible. If you're actually having to look down and click, right? And then he'd talk and then look down and click. It's absolutely terrible to do that because you're just distracting your audience completely. I mean, you're basically leaving the room every time you go down and click on the mouse. So they might as well leave the room as well and stop paying attention to you. So don't do that. That's very bad. And so the solution for that is to actually have a clicker. So what a clicker does is it has, arrow buttons to where you can go forward and backward on slides. Usually works with presentation tools like PowerPoint. That's usually the best one to use it for. Keynote is another one. You can click through your slides as you talk about them, or each time you click, a new animation can come up, that kind of thing. And that's really valuable because as you're presenting, you can just have it, down by your side. Nobody even notices. And you're just clicking away and things are moving seamlessly. It's like magic, right? A slide moves and you talk and it's all flowing and no one's distracted. It's perfect. So clickers are super good for that. The reason why I like this clicker is a couple different reasons. So number one, I really like it because it has a timer. This one has a timer where I can set it to a certain amount of time, and then it buzzes in my hand. Nobody else can hear it, nobody else can see, but it buzzes in my hand when I hit that timer. So then I know, I've taken 20 minutes of my 30-minute presentation, or I've taken 4.5 minutes of my 5-minute presentation. I better wrap it up, right? And so it's a really great way to not go over time and to make sure that the information you're conveying is coming out in the time frame that you need it to. So that buzzer feature I really like. Another feature I really like about this particular clicker is it has this little laser. So you may not need to point to anything on a slide, but if you had to, especially in like an appendix slide, you want to talk about a certain part of a slide or how a graph is going up over time, right? That laser can be very helpful. And this one's actually a green laser. I don't know if you can see the color, but that's a green laser, meaning it can actually work on an LCD screen. So if you're presenting in front of an audience on a TV screen instead of on like a projector, this one still works, whereas the red ones don't. So this is a really nice one as well. Also, I believe it has a very far distance that it can go compared to other clickers, meaning whatever room you're in, no matter how far away from the screen you are, this is still going to work. And I find that really valuable. This one's Logitech. I'll put the link to the actual one down in the description. I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever, but I am a really big fan of this product. So if you think you're going to be presenting a lot or you want to feel really comfortable in your next upcoming pitch, I would recommend this clicker. I have gotten cheaper clickers before and they break often and quickly and easily, and the worst thing that can happen is for that thing to break in the middle of a presentation, and not only are you left without a clicker and having to have some other form of, navigating between your slides, but also you had the entire, disruption of being like, oh, it's not working, oh no, I'm so sorry, and that's just so distracting. So I would not put yourself through it. I would just get a good clicker when you need it and always have it with you when you think you're going to present, and this is a good one. So I hope that answers your question for what clicker to use when you're pitching. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's pitch hack of the week. If you have any ideas for upcoming pitch hacks, there's a link down below. I would love to answer your questions. And if you have any thoughts on clickers that you like, or maybe you want to link to a solution you've found for navigating through slides more easily, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you found this video useful, give us a little thumbs up and subscribe. We put out new pitch hacks every single week, and I hope to see you again next week. Happy pitching!